So you want to do your first real estate wholesale deal, but you only got $500 to spend. Where should you invest that money to make sure that you have a great chance of putting a deal together? That's the question that I'm going to answer here for you today. Now I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 things that you can use. However, before I do that, I want to tell you what you should not do. And what you should not do is invest the money in any sort of paid marketing endeavor. By that I mean doing any sort of direct mail, pay-per-click, or Facebook ads for motivated sellers. Why? Because you simply don't have enough money to sustain a marketing channel like that in order to give you the chance for success. A lot of times people ask me, Chico, how much should I spend on Facebook ads in order to find a deal? And I tell them all the time, it's maybe about $1,500, give or take, but that could be less. Some people do deals and they get lucky, they get the first 2 or 3 leads are great and they do a deal. Others might spend $2,500, $3,000 and not get a deal. And finally, after that amount of money spent, that's when they get a deal. And if you only have $500 to spend, you're never going to see that marketing channel work itself out. Also, in addition to that, you have to consider the fact that with any sort of any marketing endeavor like that, you really should get training and expertise in order to be able to execute on that properly, which means that in addition to whatever money you're going to spend on marketing, you also need to consider how you're going to get the training and how you're going to get the materials and the know-how in order to be able to do it properly. So do not do any sort of paid marketing. So what should you do? Well, number 1 is you should identify a group of people that are predisposed to sell their property at a discount. How can you get access to those people, and what do I mean by that? By that I mean that, say for example, somebody who's delinquent on their property taxes, someone who is delinquent on their mortgage, someone who inherited the property, someone, a property owner who is a landlord and is tired of being a landlord and they just want to get rid of the problem property. Those are the individuals. How do you get a hold of them, and how do you identify them? A lot of different ways. I'm going to recommend a software that I use called Flip Anywhere Data. You can get the link in the description. You can get the link in the description here in this video, flipanywheredata.com. And then with that tool, you can go ahead and say, hey, in my city, I want to know how many people are tax delinquent on their property. You'll get a list of properties. Sometimes, depending on the town, it could be 1,000, could be 10,000. And then you're going to get a small portion of that list and then download that list and purchase it. Now, typically with the software that I'm talking about, for the $97 a month, I think they charge, you can get 10,000 records for free, which is more than enough for you. So you just download the first 1,000 records, and now you can have certainly more than enough people to reach out to. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you're going to go ahead and try to get a hold of those people 3 ways. The first way is that you're going to go ahead and try to text message those individuals. Now, how are you going to get the phone numbers? Well, in our business, there's a thing called skip tracing, which is where you go out and have a service that will then give you the phone numbers for all the property owners that you give that service to. So you're going to get, say, from 500 records, typically you'll get 3 phone numbers for each person. So you have 1,500 numbers. That's a lot of phone numbers, but it's okay. And then sometimes you might get more than 3. I would suggest just focus on the first top 3. Those are usually the best ones. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and send them a text message. There's software available that you can subscribe to that will allow you to send a text message to those individuals and do it in rapid fire form. However, assuming that you only have $500 to spend, you probably don't have enough money to buy that software. So you're going to have to do it with your phone, and it's okay. Just you're going to have to deal with it. And you're going to have to, just send a message to those individuals and saying, hey, by the way, I'm looking to buy a property in the area and I noticed yours here and I'm wondering if you might be inclined to sell it. And that's it. Most of them will say no. You're just looking for a few people to say yes. In addition to that, you're also going to call those individuals because you have the phone number, so you might as well call them. And you're going to go ahead and reach out to them and have the same conversation with them, but just over the phone, not necessarily by text. I would do text first because a lot of times people will respond to you right away, and it's a lot easier to get through a bunch of them via text message. The third way that you can get a hold of these people is by just sending them a letter. Just getting out a plain old white sheet of paper, writing out a quick letter that says, hey, my name is Cris, and I'm interested in buying some properties in the area. I noticed yours, and I was wondering if you might be inclined to sell that. Direct mail, now, the other part of that is that you're going to incur the cost of sending out the letters and buying the postage on that. If you had to pick 2 out of those 3, I would just pick the cold calling and the text messaging, because if you're limited on the budget, then just save that money and just grind it out and get a hold of these people. By the way, if you are finding value with this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and make me a comment. Write me a comment and just say, Chico, that was a great video. I really appreciate that. The third thing that you need to do is you need to get better on the phone, because if you go through that effort, getting that list of people, and sitting there for hours and hours just trying to get a hold of somebody, and you finally get a hold of somebody that says, yes, I'm interested in selling that property. What a shame it would be that if, because you didn't know what to say, if you didn't know how to approach that conversation, in the end, you just were not able to take advantage of that opportunity. And that's what you don't want to happen. So what you want to do is you want to get better at talking with prospects over the phone and having a conversation that moves them toward them wanting to sell you their problem property. I'm going to make a recommendation for you, and that is a book called by the Jordan Belfort, The Wolf of Wall Street, called The Way of the Wolf. And that book is great because it lays out a simple framework and foundation for sales. It covers all the basics and it gets you going. However, that's a generic book. So what I want you to do is I want you to watch one of my videos that I'm going to put that'll pop up at the end of this video here. It's a training that I did, pretty lengthy, that will walk you through specifically the conversation that you're going to have with the property owner when it comes to getting them to the point of saying yes to you and navigating that conversation. It's a great training. I want you to watch it, and that training is going to help you in getting better on the phone with property owners. And those are the 3 things that you can do if you only have a limited budget. And how are you going to maximize that budget in order to get yourself a first deal? So right now, watch the video that'll pop up here or there that'll walk you through that seller conversation, and that way you can take advantage of the leads you get with the strategies that I just mentioned in this video.